our tires mounted that came off of some wheels that I bought at a junkyard. Sorry if I speak up a little bit. I got a new shop fan and it's rather loud. So this is the box that these wheels here came in. So I went and I found these rims here that came off of Mitsubishi Eclipse with these really nice thick tread tires for 160 at pull apart, but the bolt pattern didn't fit, so we bought these wheels, as you've seen in the unboxing, in order to fit these tires on this car. Wait, what car? The Toyota. And we need so we have new tires and rims, and we went all the way, man. We just said screw it. We also bought some eBay coilovers, which I'll show you guys in a little bit. Robert and I, though, first, say hi, Robert.
Hi.
First, what we're got to do, though, is jack the car up because I have a brand new gas tank going in here. One of the issues with this car is I couldn't put more than $10 at a time in the gas tank. If you put more than half a tank in here, suddenly it just knocks a bunch of rust loose. It just goes right through the filter and clogs the ejection system, and the thing starts falling on its face real bad, and it doesn't want to drive anywhere, and it really sucks constantly changing the fuel filter. So I normally love Rock Auto, but they fucked me this time. This gas tank right here in this box behind me for a 1990 Hino. This don't look like no 1990 Hino to me. So they printed out a label to ship this thing, and I'm going to send it back to them, and they're supposed to figure out what the correct gas tank is and send me the correct tank. Until then, we're going to put the old tank back in. Robert went to the store to go get some connections, so do it right and proper. He's going to put the old tank back in for the time being, and then we're going to do the rear struts. If we can figure out, or coilovers, we can figure out how to get to the top of the old coilovers in order to unbolt them. So I'm looking, and I can only guess that the bolts for the rear coilovers, aka struts, are going to be underneath the rear dash. And it took me a minute to figure out to lift this little flap right here. And there's my bolt. So when I undo this cushion will lift out of place. And so I took this piece of trim off. I had some plastic snaps in to remove from here, here, and 2 rubber stops from here and here. Took this piece of trim off, and lo and behold, there's an access plate right here so that I can get to the strut tower mounts right there on top. I skipped removing the strut out of the Toyota because I realized right away there's going to be an instant problem. And I'm not talking about these bullshit spring extenders that kept me from bottoming out. What I'm talking about is the mounting diameter and the layout for the bolts are different than the ones for our coilovers. And the reason for that is these are actually for a Corrolla of the same year, and I did that because they were the closest thing I could find that would fit. So we're going to have to modify this stuff in order to get it to work. So far what I'm going to do is remove this top plate here from this strut and see if I can get it somehow to mount onto this piece to replace this piece here. If I can just get these mounting plates to swap, then I'll get this in there and be able to have a rear coilover. Alright, well, I got my box taped back up, the gas tank that goes to a 1990 Hino. Gonna send it back to Rock Auto, and hopefully they're going to correct their mistake and send me the right tank. So let me go, I got my label printed. Gotta make a little trip to the post office to drop this off, and then when I get back I'm going to address the situation of the top mount for the coilover versus strut in our Toyota. And so they don't make coilovers for a 1990 Toyota Camry, but for some freaking reason they make coilovers for a 1990 Toyota Corrolla, which is an even smaller, shittier car. So the front coils look like they're going to bolt straight in. I double checked all the measurements. Here's the issue I'm having here. This is the mount pattern for the Camry. This is the mount pattern that came with this for the Corrolla. So now granted, I'm not going to get the cool ball bearing center in there, but what I'm thinking about doing is just bolting the Camry top mount to the coilover so I can just go ahead and get it installed. No fuss, no fight. You know, I was thinking maybe I could cut this down and drill the holes out and keep it all this jazz, but keep it simple, man. I mean, it's not going to be like an actual track car or nothing. So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to go ahead and try to bolt this onto here and line it up and see if it works. So now I've got these drilled out to the correct size hole for Le Camry, aka X-Wing Dream Machine. Let's go ahead and get this bad off again. See how we do. So this is funny. I'm gonna have to relocate the sway bar, but I can and will do it. But I just stuck the rim on there. It's not even fully bolted in, and it's not on the ground. I have a feeling I'm gonna have to do a little fender rolling to get this to work, because that tire isn't tucked. Hey! But it damn sure fits, that's for sure. Sorry, the neighbor's got a dog today, and my dogs do not like other dogs, and so they've been buttholes all day. So the big question of the day is, we all know sway bars keep a car from leaning real hard in turns, but when you have suspension that's going to barely let the car suspend, do you need it? Because I just cut it off because it's in my way. I might have to move it somewhere else. If I need another sway bar, I'm just gonna go find something in the junkyard that's gonna suit my purpose more than this piece of shit here. I wanted to give you guys a little bit of comparison of tire change and the size. So these are the original factory rims. They're 14s. We've bumped up to 15s, and as you can see, the tire is also an easy, inch and a half taller than the old tire. But this old ball tire has done a lot of good. The main reason why this car is getting so much work done to it is because we're very nostalgic for this car. When my mom only had a few hours to live, this car drove from New Orleans to Houston in 4.5 hours, doing amazing speeds, and got us there with no problem. So this is horse shit. I got my wheel and stabbed it on just to press it into place to see. No, I'll tell you what happened. I'll tell you what happened right now. I put this rim back on, the factory rim and tire, and this skinny little piece of cut tire rub was told me that this tire right here is gonna rub. Look, it's trying to tuck. Ooh, it's trying to tuck. It's told me that this was gonna rub. So I pushed it all the way into place, and from what I can see back there, right here, oh, it's so too dark, but that's a 1/4 inch gap, or 3/8 of an inch gap. So what I think I need to do is to get at least a 3/4 of an inch spacer so that I can then move this back this way enough for that it to spin without rubbing. And that's gonna mean I'm gonna have to end up rolling the inside of this fender right here so we don't cut our stuff up. This is turning into a full stance Boyd build. Honestly, I didn't want a stance Boyd build. I just wanted sports, a little sportier in this than what it was. And now I got to go find spacers that have studs in them. What a nightmare. So in other news, I got this really cool roll-by toolbox here. I got a new shop fan and this giant blue compressor. So I'm moving on up, man. Plug this thing in and let it build up so I can get some stuff impacted and speed this process up. Alright, so I started off by, of course, taking the wheel off, and then I pulled the brake line. I had this little bracket. Let me show you guys. So I pulled this little clip right here out, and then I had to undo the brake line in order to remove it from the mount on the strut. So I went and put this back into place. Pull this over and reconnect them just so it's not just going to sit there and completely bleed itself to death. Then this bolt and this bolt, I went ahead and undid the nut with my new little impact there, and got it free. So now what I'm going to do is go inside and relieve the top. So now here I am on the inside, and I had to remove some trim across the front of the dash. It was very easy. I just had to take baby steps to see how it was clipped in. I've got a 10mm here that I'm going to undo so I can get this rear dash mat brace out of here, and it's going to give me access to the top of the strut so I can loosen them up and get it out of here. Then I can show you the next problem that I had, that I already showed you, but now we're going into more detail. Now that that's off, I'm going to get my 12mm wrench to take off the two rear, and a 12mm socket and extension to take this front one off. So let me show you a no-no. These are cheap Chinese things you can put in that will expand your springs and not let them compress. Now I will admit that I did this to these struts because they're so blown out that I was bottoming out everywhere. And I have to mention this for damn sure, if it wasn't for these guys right here, I don't think I would have gotten the Chevy 350 in the trunk of this car home that day. So they've I'm going to throw them away today. They should never harm anybody ever again. But let me go ahead and get this spring load. I'll show you where the problem is actually real quick, why I'm about to dissect this. Alright, so right off the bat, you can see that there's about, well, a bit lower, close to 6 inches in difference in height. So that's going to make it ride real low, but luckily I can tighten the spring as loose or tight as I want it to allow it to, basically adjust the spring rate. When they not adjust the spring rate, I don't know what it is. It's just going to make it harder for the damn thing to be pressed. Anyhow, I also have some height adjustment down here in the bottom, which is why I like these, is because I can adjust them down at the bottom and with the spring rate at the top. Here I go again, spring rate. Dampening? Anyhow, the big issue is on this side, I have an equilateral triangle for a bolt pattern, and this plate is huge. And on this side, for the Camry, I have an acute triangle bolt pattern, and it's not as huge. So all I'm going to do is remove this bolt, remove that bolt, swap the tops, and this thing's going to be able to stab right in. Just like that, got my cover on, it's on tight, I can now mount this into the car. Oh, I forgot a detail. So I'm going to have to drill out these mount holes in the bottom because they don't fit the Camry bolts. It's no problem, I got to step it in the drill. I'm going to set up and we'll do that right next. So now I got my holes drilled out. We can go mount this bad mother in. Quasi bad news, the threads on the bottom of my camera stripped, so it's no longer able to sit on a tripod. So now I'm going to take this thing and I'm going to stick it up in its hole and get it tightened into place. And I think that's about it for that. And then we're going to move on to the front. So what I did here is I put my two bolts in place, and then I used my jack and just lifted up on the arm, the control arm, until it stabbed in the holes above. So now I'm going to go in behind the seat. Whoa, the lights, okay. Now I'm going to go in behind the seat here and tighten the tower bolts back down and put that little brace back and replace all my trim in my back seat and wrap this up. And don't forget, all projects are fueled by recycled dinosaurs. So as you know, I'm waiting on spacers, so I went ahead and just put the steelies back on. They barely clear. I'm going to put this down on the ground and see how low it sets for now. I might not even be able to get my jack out. Whoa! Oh yeah. I'm going to have to roll the fenders, that's for sure, and maybe hit the springs a little bit. That's stiff, baby. What we got there? Well, I might be able to pass the shoe test. Oh yeah, that was definitely tucked, but they stiff. That's alright. They're real stiff. So let me talk you through what I'm about to do. This is the factory side of the suspension with the wore out radial ass strut. So you got to pull this retainer clip right here so that this hose comes loose. And undo this brake line. You will have to release your brakes later, but undo this brake line and you'll pull this line back through this hole right here. Then you're going to connect it back as quickly as you can. Where's my finger? Then you're going to connect it back as quickly as you can. It loses as little fluid as possible, so you just have to do a bleed. Once that's done, you're going to break these two 7/8 bolts right here. I'm sure they're metric, but my 7/8 fits it. And then you'll go to the top and remove the 3 mountain bolts at the top. And we'll get that off of the car, and then we'll go from there. Sorry about the fan noise, because if it's not flooding in Louisiana, it's melting. So you can see I use a step bit, and I drilled out my 2 holes in order to fit the bolt that holds the spindle onto these struts. And the front struts don't need any altercations. You just stab them right on in. Gotta love it. So there it went. The front went in just that easy. Those 2 bolts. And the 3 bolts on top. I'm gonna have to cut these off so they don't hit the hood. I've definitely left them long. So I'm gonna get the tires on here and put the last tire on here. I'm gonna drop it to the ground and see if I can't get a clear shot of what it looks like. But it's definitely much lower. Much lower than I anticipated, but hey, what can you do? They're meant for a 1990 Corrolla, which is a smaller car than this. And some parts happen to work. I don't know what to tell you. Here we go, back on the phone because the camera has got its own problems, but now the microphone battery is dead. But so this thing is sitting real low. In fact, so low in the front that it's not going to work with the sway bar in the front. It goes to the control arm. It's coming literally a ½ inch away from the transmission. So I'm going to have to try to take these tires off, raise these coilovers up an inch, and to try to get more clearance on the sway bar. And once I do, then I'm going to adjust the camber to get them to either tuck or to sit pretty level. We'll see how that goes. You know, my issue is right here. And there's only like 3/4 of an inch, maybe an inch right there. But when I lower the car down, there's only a ½ inch. And then whenever I have Cassandra bouncing the bumper, I can feel it squishing my fingers. So this transmission spot here and this sway bar that has to be there is a big concern for me right now. Now I know if I were to go and replace some engine mounts, oh yeah, actually, my front engine mount is sitting all the way down. If I go and replace that, that's actually going to lift that up and help out a lot. I might end up having to do that sooner than later. Where am I looking? What we're going to do is unlock the ring right here, and we're going to rotate this strut until I can measure from where it is now to an inch higher than it was, and et cetera, et cetera. We're just going to raise the front end for an inch an entire inch right now, and get some more height out of this. Again, sorry about the fan noise. I got it adjusted out. You can see there's a big difference here. If I look into here, there's about this much thread grabbing and then the locker, so I'm going to call that good. That's actually kind of a lot of surface area to be grabbing there, so we should be okay there. This should definitely give me the clearance I need. As far as the sway bar, man, see, this side doesn't hit nothing. There's nothing in the way of this side, so it's all about the other side and that stupid transmission that I have to actually drive. Hell yeah, look at that. Look at that right there, I did it. I got over a full inch of clearance now, so if I change that engine mount in the front, that'll lift that up. I should be able to drive on this, no problem. I was just jumping on it, and everything seemed to be clear okay. So, good news for me. Where'd it go? There it is. Good news for me. I got a lot more clearance than I used to, and I feel better about this. And the tire still just barely clears the fender as well. Alright, so I don't know how long this is going to take. I don't know how much I'm going to clear, but I'm going to try to back this car out the driveway. And I got a steep curb, as you can see. Where is that? There we go, right there. I got some 2x12s to kind of level it out some. and I'm just going to go a little bit at a time and see if I can make it. First thing I noticed, that the springs in the front aren't tightened enough, and they're making a bunch of noise when they rotate, because the piece is rotating and the spring is not. So that's something that's got to be worked on and tightened on. But I'm going to go for a little drive to put some gas in it. I think the rear end is too high and the front end's too low, so we'll see if we can figure that one out. That clicking popping noise is just my rack. It's been bad. I got no power steering, and it's just the arms that's rattling away in there. But so far, I didn't bleed my brakes, so I barely have any. You know, gotta love it. Live dangerous or don't live at all. And got this bad motherfucker lowered out, and we're just seeing what we can clear right now, what we can't clear, while we getting eyeballed by the local element. Fuck them element. They don't know what I got in store for them. So we're gonna go get some gas in this thing and then go for a spin. I need to tighten the front springs up for sure. They're moving around with the steering. What do I think of my first ride? It was not that bad. You do have to remember that you are 5 inches off the ground. But I think that the front end springs need to be stiffened up a whole bunch. The coil springs had settled, and it came back down to a 1/2 inch clearance from an inch clearance on that sway bar. So I'm gonna have to stiffen the springs up a bunch. And I think I might even raise the front end up another 1/2 inch, since it's not that hard to do. Once I do that, then I'll see how close to level it is with the rear. I want the car real level. Right now, as you can see, it's got a rake. Definitely want the car to be real level, but I'm liking it, man. So this Friday, the Neochrome spike lugs come in, and I've already got the wheels. I believe I've showed the wheels a couple times in this video. And then wheel spacers for the rear to clear are going to be coming in the following Wednesday. So this car's just going to keep getting better. So that's going to be it for now. We're going to have to wrap this episode up until I get some more goodies going. We're going to be building my 350 real soon. We're going to have to get the project Rusty going a lot quicker than I had imagined to get going in the first place. Oh, by the way, where's the damn camera? There. If anyone sees a hatch like this for sale, I need a rear hatch for this truck. Or otherwise, everything I've done is pointless. So, other than that, you know, just don't be afraid to try to experiment with things. Try to get stuff that fits as close as possible from the get-go, for sure. Like, for instance, I heard that I saw a video where a gentleman has a 90 Camry, and he said he used Celica coilovers. Well, I looked at the Celica coilovers, and they didn't look anything remotely like the Camry coilovers whatsoever, which is why I went with the 1990 Corrolla coilovers. They're obviously a little bit short. You have to change that rear upper mount on the coilovers in the back. But other than that, this car, other than that, everything went real well, and it fit really nicely, and I think the car came out well. So until next time, love what you do. 3, 4. 20 minutes of nothing is 20 minutes of nothing. You just wasted your life watching 20 minutes of nothing. It's not smoking crack, but you can't get it back. You just wasted your life watching 20 minutes of nothing. Thought it was something, my 20 minutes of nothing. It'll prove your life, my 20 minutes of nothing. In the comments below, that's where your opinion goes.